All right, peace be to all. Assalamualaikum. Omar here. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about the physician assistant interview process. So I'll tell you a bit about myself. For those of you guys who don't know me, I'm Omar Abdul-Malik. I have been a physician associate for more than 20 years. I also have a doctorate in health education. I used to teach many years ago at a couple of PA programs. So I was even on the admissions committee. So I know a thing or two about admissions process, and I've been through it myself, having been a budding medical student many, many years ago. It's probably about 25 years ago, and a PA student, and later a doctoral student for my health education degree. So I want to give you guys some tips, which I hope you will find useful. Now, these tips are not they're not exclusive to one particular program. You may find different programs may have different interview processes, but I'll try to share what I believe to be a few of the basic ones, and hopefully you'll find them useful. So the first type of interview that you may have for a PA school or even medical school is a one-on-one interview. That's where you're, let's say, the prospective student, and you're being interviewed by an interviewer. This can be relatively less stressful than the other types of interviews. It's just you and another person chatting. I went over some of the questions that were asked before. Why do you want to be a PA or a physician or a nurse practitioner, depending on where you're applying to? But they'll ask you the usual questions. How long have you thought about this? Explain these grades if you have bad grades in your transcripts. Those kind of things. Tell me about yourself. I already went over some of the questions that are asked. But the one-on-one interview, and this is very common. I've done this with students or prospective students myself, and it's a nice exchange. They usually take about 10 to 15 minutes. And that's enough time for the interviewer to get to know the prospective student and get an idea if that student may be a good fit for that particular program or that particular school or profession. The second type is a two-on-one. So 2 interviewers and 1 student. That's a little bit more stressful because sometimes one of my colleagues and I we were interviewing students, and we kind of do the good cop bad cop thing. So one of us was like very stern and why do you want to be a PA? Why do you want to come to this school? Just to kind of mess with the student a little bit, just to see if they had a kind of unflappable personality that you kind of need while you're in a very competitive program. So you're good cop and you're bad cop. So a 2-on-1 interview. Then one of the most stressful types, you may have a group on one. So a group of interviewees. So and those people who are interviewing that one student, prospective student, may consist of a faculty, maybe a faculty, maybe a senior student who's about to graduate, maybe an alumni like myself who volunteers to be on an admissions committee, something like that. Or maybe one of the professors who is not part of the PA school but maybe teach PA students. Maybe it's an anatomy professor or a physiology professor. This can be very stressful because you're dealing with multiple personalities and you don't know who's going to ask you what. And sometimes they don't even know what to ask. They just kind of pull questions from the air. And depending on how aggressive they may be, it can really stress you out. But that's why it's good to practice with somebody. And you'll find this to be the case. I've interviewed for PA jobs, for faculty jobs in particular, and I had to interview with a board of interviewers. Then there is another kind, which is a group of interviewers interviewing a group of prospective students. This is the type of interview that I had whilst applying to PA school almost 20, I guess it was 25 years ago now. I got in 97, I think. I got into PA school. So there was a group of interviewers. I think one was the dean of the College of Allied Health. Another was the program chair, then a faculty member, then a senior student. And there was a group of me as well as some other students who were interviewing to get into the program. And, I actually kind of like this because it gave me a chance to shine. You want to have a good balance of outshining your peers, but you don't want to seem like you're some kind of loudmouth. So wait your turn to ask questions. Don't cut anybody off. If the interviewers are asking, let's say, one person a question, don't be that guy to interrupt that person and just blurt out something and cut them off. This is very rude. They say, this guy's a jerk, man. He's going to cause his fellow classmates problems and maybe even us. But you want to try to flow as smoothly as possible. Understand you may have to play off on your peers. I had one peer, I remember, I think she was like 8 months pregnant, and she gave this answer when they said, well, why do you want to become a PA? She said, well, I know it's easier than becoming a doctor. And everybody looked at her like, oh, really? So I was kind of like, yes, they're not going to let her in. She didn't get in. I felt really bad, but, it's a very competitive thing. So I was like, listen, I need to get myself into this program. And at that time, I'll do another video, inshallah, in the future about your family situations, because unfortunately people discriminate against people for how they look or they sound or their family situation if they know about them. So I'll do another interview. I'll do another video about that. So another one of the peers I with whom I interviewed in the group interview, I think that person was very shy. So when the group would ask us questions and just throw the questions out, like, what do you all think can be done about, I don't know, racial disparities in healthcare? Nobody said anything. That's just an example. I looked at it, I was like, okay, nobody's saying anything. Boom, I jumped in. I said, okay, this can be done. This has got to be addressed. And this is what I've done to help overcome that. So I actually found out later, they said, we were waiting to meet with you because you blew everybody away in the interview. So again, you want to have a very good balance with this type of interview. Don't be an overbearing loudmouth, but then on the same hand, don't be somebody that just doesn't say anything. And practice. I'm available to help some of you all practice with the interviews if you would like. To me, the interview process was more stressful than the personal statement, because a personal statement, you can write that over and over again. You can have other people look at it. I just looked at a young lady's personal statement. It was absolutely outstanding. One of the best I've ever read. And I've read dozens and dozens of personal statements by this point in my career. But this was hers was one of the best I've ever read. Now, it doesn't mean that particular person will interview well. You can blow the interview with the wrong question or not presenting well, even though you've done an outstanding personal statement, you've got great grades. Again, becoming a PA in particular is very, very competitive. There's not that many PA programs in the country. I think there's only like 260. There's not that many PAs in the country. It's about 150,000, I think, compared to roughly 2 million doctors, if I'm not mistaken, and over 3 million nurses. I don't know how many nurse practitioners there are. But, suffice it to say, becoming a PA, getting into the PA school is very, very competitive, and you've got to take it seriously. I hope this was helpful to you guys. Let me know if it is or not. I'll make myself available to as many of you as I possibly can. Inshallah, Lord willing. I wish you guys the best of success in your positive endeavors. Peace.